Hello and welcome to Scientific Games technical training video for the TwinStar Matrix. This video will cover the following subjects, and as a user, you will have the ability to select a chapter as needed. Today we will discuss the requirements needed to use the MPU, demonstrate how to open and close all doors, identify where the LED and audio control boards are located, demonstrate how to service the printer. Then we will look at the removal and installation of the pillow assembly, the removal and installation of the iDeck, and lastly, the removal and installation of the main door. Before we start this process, the following tools are required. You will need a number 2 tip screwdriver, some cutting pliers to cut the wire nuts, and a 7mm nut and driver set. Okay, starting with the CPU, now referred to as the Salem MPU, has a completely new look. Sleek in design and more powerful than the Argos 4.x CPU currently used in the previous generation of TwinStar cabinets. Note, we will only discuss what is different for the Salem MPU. It runs on Windows 10. It uses a dual SPI flash type BIOS. And now the self-test button is conveniently located on the front of the MPU. The MPU cover can be removed as needed, but requires a lock to be installed. It is important to note that the MPU door must be unlocked and open when connecting it to the cabinet. There are 16 USB ports. Like the other TwinStar cabinets, to load all software, we will only use the 4 which are located inside the Salem MPU. This is for security reasons. You'll have two 3.1 Gen USB ports which are used for software installation, and you'll also have two 2.0 USB ports which are for licensing and DRM. Salem uses a PCI Express card. This helps to avoid signal integrity issues. Salem has two 10100 megabits per second Ethernet ports, and each has its own MAC address. There are 3 doors on the TwinStar Matrix: the main door, the belly door, and the cache box access door. Using the same concept used on TwinStar, to open each door, you will have to turn the locks counterclockwise to unlock the doors. Starting on the left-hand side of the cabinet, you will see the belly door lock. By turning this lock to unlock it, it will allow the door to pop open. From there, you will only need to grasp the door and pull forward to get access to the interior of the lower cabinet. Next, we have the cache box access door. Again, turn your key counterclockwise, and this will allow the door to swing in a downward motion. From here, you will see the cache box door. For this lock, it will be a key that the customer provides, so access to this will require a different key. Next, we have the main door. Located in the middle of the lower cabinet, you will see a release lever. Again, you will need to turn the key counterclockwise to unlock. Once unlocked, pull on the release lever and you will notice that the right side of the main door will release. Now grasp the door and pull towards yourself to open. Lastly, we have the pillow assembly door. This door doesn't require a lock. Simply grasping the door at the top and pulling towards yourself allows this door to open. As a precaution, never try and close the door while the main door is open. This covers the opening and closing of all doors. Next, We want to look at where the LED and audio control boards are located. With the main door open, we can see on the back of the cabinet the boards. The one on the left is our LED control board. The function of this board is to control all the LEDs built on the cabinet. This board has the ability to control 8 LED lights. To the right of this board, you will see the audio board. It has a power connection along with a Type A to B USB cable. The removal of these boards are simple. There are 4 screws on each board. Remove all connections as required. Remove and replace the boards as needed. Now let's look at where the power switch and the printer is located. As shown, with the main door open, the power switch is located on the left side of the cabinet. It is a on-off toggle switch. The printer, of course, is located on the right side. As shown, it uses the same methodology as TwinStar. To service the printer, you will notice the pull tab located on the left side of the printer. Grasp the pull tab and lift on the printer. You will observe that the printer locks in place. This will allow you to service the printer and get access to the bill validator as needed. To remove the printer, in the service position, the user will grasp on the front of the printer and pull the printer housing towards yourself. You will need to disconnect the printer to pull the assembly completely out if replacing. To clean the rollers and thermal printer head, open the printer head as shown. Here you will see the rollers and printer. Use the required cleaner. Clean them as needed to prevent malfunctions. Next, we will cover how to remove the main door. This doesn't require 2 people, but as a safety precaution, you may need the assistance of another person to perform. Note, should either of the monitors go out, you will have to order the entire door assembly. The bottom monitor will be the only touchscreen. They are labeled to identify each. Starting with the power of the top monitor, disconnect this cable. Next, we want to disconnect our DP cable. Allow these cables to hang freely for now. Moving to the lower monitor, we want to disconnect the DP, the power, and the USB cable. Again, allow these cables to hang freely. Using your 7mm nut and driver, remove the door strap as being demonstrated. From here, we now need to disconnect the grounding strap and disconnect the LED board cable. Once this has all been completed, we are now ready to remove the door. To do this, again, you may need the assistance of another person to help lift and remove. As I am doing, supporting the door at the top and then lifting from the bottom, the door lifts up and comes out. Note, when replacing this monitor, have the new monitor open and placed in a safe location. Once you remove the bad monitor, replace it in the reverse order just performed. This will complete the removal and installation of the main door. Now, we want to remove the pillow assembly. This process is very important since it will be removed in order to take the iDeck out. You will need a number 2 tip screwdriver and your cutters to remove all wire ties securing the harness to the pillow. Also, you will need a foam or a cloth to lay over the top of the iDeck to prevent it from being scratched or damaged. Starting with your cutters, remove all wire ties. Next, using your screwdriver, Remove the 2 screws that secure the pillow to its mounting brackets. There will be 2 on each side of the pillow. Place these aside for later use. Once all screws are removed, we can now lift up on the pillow and lay it on top of the iDeck to disconnect all other cables and connectors. There are a total of 2 grounding straps. Using a 7mm nut and driver, remove the nuts connected to the cabinet housing for both. Next, we want to remove the cables for the BV lighting. Disconnect the 2 cables. Note, these may be hard to pull out, so I would suggest using a small screwdriver and lift up on the ends until you have the cables out without damaging them. We're now ready to remove the USB from the pillow. There are 4 nuts. Remove the nuts and place them aside for later use. After all nuts have been removed, we can now take the USB connector housing and pull from the front of the pillow to remove it. Once taken out, there is a small screw on the USB housing. Remove this. Now, remove the cover of the USB and place in a safe place for reassembly later. Once this has all been removed, we can now pull the cable back through the opening and allow the cable to hang freely until the reassembly process. This will complete the removal of the pillow assembly. We can now move on to the removal of the iDeck assembly. For the iDeck, you will find there are a total of 6 screws that secure the bottom cover to it. Remove the 6 screws as shown and place in a safe location for later use. We can now access the bottom of the iDeck. Before we remove any nuts, we will need to disconnect a few cables. We will disconnect a USB cable, the power cable, and the DP cable. Note, the spin button and LED does not have to be disconnected. Once all cables are disconnected, we can unsecure from the plastic strips and allow the cables to hang freely. To remove the iDeck, there are a total of 12 nuts. I've taken the time to place a circle around each to show their location. Remove the 12 nuts and set aside for later use. You can now push from the bottom of the iDeck and upwards so that it comes out. Set aside and replace with the new iDeck. Now to the power supply. This is a very easy process. Simply loosen the push screw as shown, disconnect the power plug and 2 Molex connectors, and then lift up and pull power supply out. For the reassembly of each device we removed, you will perform each step in a reverse order of how we removed them. Please take a moment to review each chapter as needed to perform the installation process. Thank you for taking the time to review this material.